Hello everyone, my name is Legeroni and this game is Rise of Kingdoms. OSMAN Commander Spotlight version 2.0. This is gonna be the video of today. He's gonna be the last epic that I need to review from my version 2.0 of series. Now I have done all the epic except Lohar. Lohar is still the same, there's nothing I have to change about him. Osman is gonna be the last, and if you're interested to see the other commanders, not Osman, I'm gonna post a link. All you have to do is scroll down on the list and see the version 2.0 of the commanders. Let's get into it and let's break him down to bits and pieces. First thing first, like any other commander spotlight, you guys need to see this. Need to know the stars and the sculptures required for each commander. Approximately, the stars is approximately, the sculpture is 100%. That's how much you need, and it also tells you the skills, the first, the second, the third, the fourth, and so on. Couple more important stuff real quick is about equipment. Only applies from the primary commander, so make sure you equip your primary commander always with the equipment that you want. Talents also only apply from the primary commander, and we're gonna go in just a couple of moments into his talents and we're gonna detail about his builds and so on. After that is gonna be the pairings. My opinion about Osman is that as an epic commander, he's very powerful. He's very nuking oriented epic commander. A lot of utilities for him I strongly recommend to be used with other skill commanders, such as Herman, Pelagius, Babers, Boudica, Sansu, you know, Eulji. Well, Eulji doesn't have skill, except Eulji. Pretty good synergy with those type of commanders. His primary skill, once you obtain his expertise, is 1100 damage factor, and even without expertise, it's 850. So even without expertise, he's very strong. So considering this, I usually recommend keeping each and every commander at 1 star and max out their primary skill. Usually their primary skill is kind of the best skill they have. After that, after you maxed out his primary skill, you can definitely unlock his other stars, max the rest of the skills, and so on. 1100, that's pretty significant for an epic commander. It's only him and Herman that have the highest nuking capability against a single target with this large amount of damage factor. His second skill is only siege oriented, 15% attack bonus. That actually means that he can be used on sieging cities. I don't highly recommend on sieging flags or forts. Maybe in the early games at the beginning of the kingdom you can definitely use him for that. There's nothing wrong, but later on you need legendaries. That's the true fact. But if you still want to rally cities with, I don't know, siege or mix of troops, you just want to make an alliance, you definitely know that you're going to be able to take that guy down, you can definitely use Osman. Third skill, Sword of Osman, very significant. It's additional damage after each skill, and it actually works from the other commander. So you usually have 2 commanders in a group. You have the primary and the secondary. Rather that is Osman or whichever commander is, as long as the Osman is in that pair, this damage factor, the additional damage factor, works twice. So that's something you want to keep in mind. Altogether, you're starting to put up the pieces, how much damage factor he can bring on the battlefield. After that is increase troops capacity 10%, which actually can make a field battle march even more sweeter, having 10% more troops. That's pretty much about his skills. Now let's go into his talents and let's break down his talents. After that we go into the pairings. So this is my all-time favorite talent build, because I'm usually not a huge fan of mix of troops. So all my builds that I make are usually not mix of troops oriented. But if you're in the beginning of the kingdom, in the early times of the kingdom, and you want to make a mix of troops with Osman leading, then you can definitely do it. But you need armored, and you most likely need armored as well, or at least armored. He's a kind of a glass cannon type of commanders. That means that he can deal a lot of damage if he's not the main focus, but if he's the main focus, he's kind of going down, and very hard chances to retreat with him. If there is another commander primary that has mobility capabilities, then you can definitely retreat and choose your own battles. So this is the skill part. This is the conquering part. Now the reason I'm going on the conquering part is because Moment of Triumph and Buckler Shield, it doesn't mention anything that they only work when sieging cities or when sieging other objectives. The reason, the way their description is, it should 100% work when you're on the battlefield as well, or any kind of battle situation. And I also like the march speed, and for that reason I went on this path to get the march speed. And again, Moment of Triumph and Buckler Shield, they're very nice talents, something that I wouldn't actually want to miss, at least the Buckler Shield. Now this is if you want to use him with just one type of troops. Again, I just want to bring it back. Now I have his second build. If you're in the early times of the kingdom, you definitely want to get him with the full skill. He doesn't have any kind of other rage generations, and if you're low technology, I would also suggest that you go with the full feral nature. You need to build up those skill damage, those skill bar, so you can do skill damage as fast as possible. So for that reason you have to drop march speed, which somehow is a little bit bad, but it is what it is. And you still have the Buckler Shield at least, but you have the full skill, and you still have the leadership talent part with strategic prowess, which is very, very powerful, and fresh recruits. Again, this is for just one type of troops. If you want to do mix of troops and you want to do this build with the full skill, you have to drop Buckler Shield, and the other ones you don't really need them after Buckler Shield, and you can get Armored. And if you're doing mix of troops, you can put the health and you can put 1 point in Armored. So there you go, you have the leadership powerful mix and you have the full skill. And after that is going to be the third talent build that I have for him, which is pretty much the sieging build. So you're noticing that it's still with full skill. If you're hitting a city, that means you're hitting it with a rally, and building up that skill damage as fast as possible, regardless of the technology that you have. You need the skill, because a full rally is going to be a total different nuke than a single march, much bigger. So you want to build that rage bar as fast as possible so you can deal that damage to the city that you're rallying. And obviously this talent is made for mix of troops. If you're ever going to use OSMAN primarily, you're definitely going to do a mix of troops rally, so you want to have even more damage as possible. You don't need fresh recruits because it's a rally. It's not going to increase the rally capacity, and armored as well. And you also have entrench, which according to our description it says strongholds. I'm not sure if strongholds mean cities or flags or passes. This is all the description that we have. I hope that it actually works against cities. If not, isn't many options you could actually go with anyway. So I will still get Moment of Triumph, because a rally, until a rally goes on under 90%, it does take a little bit of time. So I will still get Moment of Triumph and Buckler Shield for a rally, and going for entrench. Either it works or not, I have no idea. Contact the support, they know the best. The reason I'm talking about entrench like this is because Chinese players are actually telling me that in the Chinese description, when it's written in Chinese here, it says differently than what it says here. It's saying that it doesn't work against cities, and this one says anyway. So entrench, it says that it doesn't work against cities, but it works against flags or other objectives. Amen to that. That's all I can say. I just want to hover again over it so you guys can see it. So this is a siege build that I have on him. I'm also gonna post cards on the top because I have free-to-play rallies videos where I also talk about OSMAN. He's part of it. Let's go into the pairings. And personally, I would say, since that was the last talent build that I talked about, the conquering one or the sieging one, I personally think that Babers with OSMAN, they actually have a good synergy, because you'll actually benefit from their entire skills hitting a city, a little bit less about the troops capacity. Well, you can't say that this one will help, but like I said, a little bit, because you'll just be able to bring more troops into the rally yourself, who's gonna be the rally leader. So Babers and OSMAN, they actually have a good synergy together against single target. Damage factor quite huge from both of them. They both have conquering type of skills. When you attack cities, 100% chance, so this debuff is 100% chance, attack and defense, and Osman after 30 seconds gives you 50% attack for another 2 minutes. So they both actually utilize full amount of skills they have against a cities. So if you want to rally cities, I definitely suggest using Osman and Babers. If you do Osman primary, you have the talent build, but my suggestion would be to do someone like Babers primary. I've done his commander spotlight as well, and you can go with full cavalry. But if you're going with mix of troops, rather put Osman primary so you can benefit from the leadership tree with mix of troops, and you can put Babers secondary. There's nothing wrong. They are both conquering commanders. Your question would be, why not bring Scipio? Is because Scipio doesn't have skill damage. So he does have conquering, he does have a skill that is just city specific, increasing all damage, but it doesn't have skill damage. Skill damage is what's gonna bring you the city down. Now, if you wanna use Osman primary for field battles or other kind of battles, I would strongly suggest that you only use it at the early games. So at the beginning of the kingdom, yes, you can definitely use Osman, probably a little bit middle time, but later on when you get to the end game, when players start to have a lot of max commanders and especially legendary commanders, Osman kind of becomes a little bit weak to be still used as primary. And then is when I would highly recommend to start using him as secondary. So right now, if I want to use Osman on the battlefield myself, I can definitely use him, but I'll never put him primary. If you don't want to use him primary because he has a super universal type of talent trees or utilities, he's very universal with any kind of commanders, you pretty much can pair him with any commanders that has skill. So if he's gonna be primary, you can put Babers, Pelagius secondary, Boudica, you can even put Eulgi, you can even put Scipio. I've done a video about that, which is kind of called the punching bag theory, because both Osman and Scipio, they bring 10% troops capacity, which kind of makes a big group of troops, which I called it the punching bag theory. Scipio will bring you the damage taken reduction and the counter-attack, the defense that Osman doesn't have. Osman will do the damage, will have the skill for generating rage, so you can do skills as fast as possible, and Scipio will bring you the defense. And this is something that how you can actually still kind of use Osman, probably even a little bit later in the game. With Scipio second, how the results are, I personally haven't tested, because as I said, for late game, I recommend Osman to be used secondary. You can also put Osman primary, Herman second. If Herman is not high enough and you have a level 60 Osman, that's also great. You can even put Osman primary, Sansu second, and obviously it also works with legendaries. My recommendation, my personal recommendation for Osman, mid game to late game, is to be as a second in command. Now, with who can you use him as a second in command? You can using again, like I mentioned, with any commander that has skill. You can put Babers primary, Osman second, Pelagius primary, Osman second. If you're struggling with marches, you can even do Boudica and Osman, or Osman and Boudica. This can also work as well. You can also put Herman and Osman is one march that I usually highly recommend, because like I said in the beginning, these are the only two epics that have the highest nuke damage from epics against single target. So if you go Herman primary, which usually is my recommendation, having specific specialization commanders leading, then you can go full archers with Herman primary, and you can choose as a second in command. And there you go, you have a very strong and powerful archer commander. But again, this is glass cannon type of builds, because both Herman and Osman, they have no defense. If they are caught or they are targeted, you need to find ways to either retreat, otherwise you're just gonna get smashed. But if you're not focused on, then you'll definitely deliver some heavy damage. Can also work Sansu primary, Osman second also can work. Recommendation, you have infantry build, and the reason I'm recommending specific specialization commander is because you literally can get much better stats on your troops on having just one type of troops, rather than trying to boost 3 types of troops. Genghis Khan primary, Herman Osman second, I do apologize, also can work. Sadin primary Osman second, any kind Minamoto primary Osman second, but again Minamoto or Genghis with Osman, there's also a glass cannon type of builds, meaning that you have no defense and they are very weak, but you have a lot of nuking power. Same would be with YSG or with Frederick, no defense, just pure nuking. Pretty much plenty of options that you can go with Osman. Obviously Mehmed, I don't really have to name every single skill commander available in the game. That's pretty much all I have to say about Osman. Again, he's a great commander. He's one of the 2 epic commanders that have the highest nuke from the epics, so definitely someone that you might want to look into it. I'm more in favor of commanders that have a little bit of defense. That's why I kind of like Sansu Pelagius, these kind of commanders. Babers doesn't have defense, but I usually pair him with someone that has defense. So this is how I usually try to find my pairings and my builds when I go for the field battles. Don't forget, work on your epics, get them to level 60 and you will not regret it. They have a lot of utilities and can bring a lot of benefits. If you have any question, don't hesitate to drop them in the comment section below. This is your boy Legend Ronnie signing off. Peace out, yo, and take care.